Hi everyone, it's Julie Umpleby here of DiamondLightWorld.net, and welcome back to another little soundbite from Diamond Light World. There's a couple of things that I'd like to share with you today. One of which, oh, by the way, I use my hands quite a lot when I talk, and I used to work in a laboratory, and it used to be a bit of a standing joke that people could usually tell what I was talking about just from watching what I was doing with my hands. So if you see my hands waving around a bit, just excuse it. It's a natural way I have of expressing myself. So first of all, for those of you who are perhaps not overly familiar with this concept of the diamond, because it's often spoken about in the spiritual communities at the moment and just referred to as diamond light. Well, there is a structure and a form that enables us to harness this advanced, higher, divine frequency of light that we're being exposed to, and that structural form is what I call the sacred octahedron. Now, there are many who may refer to or understand the octahedron as simply one in the sequence of platonic solids. I can tell you from more than 15 years of actually working with it that it goes way beyond that. It is one of the platonic series. It is also a shape, structure, and form that almost stands alone on its own in respect of its value and importance and its sacredness. Most importantly, its sacredness. So for those of you that are not familiar, I've got a little model here. I actually structured this out of a little set of magnets that I bought, so I had some fun with it, trying to create. So if you actually have a look at this, this is what we know as the octahedron. This is the form and the shape. And that is the diamond that I actually refer to. Now, this you can see, or you may be able to see, it's actually two pyramids, a pyramid pointing up and a pyramid pointing down. So it's two pyramids joined at the base. And this is a geometric form that is actually taking shape, and in fact we can invoke and we can create within our own energy fields, and that has numerous functions and really significant importance for us at this time in respect of our evolution and our spiritual growth, actually. So this would orientate around the body such that this top point, as you see, would connect with an external energy center. Some may know it as the soul star energy center above the head. The center point of the octahedron would align at the base of the spine, and there's a reason for that. And the lower point would actually connect with the center below your feet. So you may like to start visualizing that, just imagining it, invoke it, ask to be connected with your sacred diamond body, with your sacred diamond architecture, your sacred diamond form. Place it around, connect, ask for it to connect into the relevant points and see what happens. And in fact, I'd love to hear your experiences, so feel free to leave a couple of comments below the box if you've never connected with it before. One of the most common bits of feedback that I've had over the years in respect of aligning people with this form, with structuring it in and through their energy fields, is that there is a deep sense, an abiding sense of coming home. And I heard that expression today, again in respect of our evolution, that our growth at this moment in time, our evolution as human beings, is about coming home to ourselves. And that is about the complete and total embodiment of all that we are, multidimensionally, spiritually, physically, emotionally, into a cohesive whole within our physical form, bridging heaven and earth. And I think I mentioned that in the last video. So that's really what this is all about. Give it a go. And let me know how you go with it. And if you have any questions at all as well, please also leave your questions in the comments below this little video. So aligning ourselves with this architecture has numerous functions. And ever since I was presented with this in 2003, 2004, it has been my life mission. I was actually told in 2003 that what I had to do was to build the grid between the stars. And what I found out in 2004 when Spirit presented me with this particular form is that I was told that this is the grid between the stars, that I actually had to build it. And when we look at a macro level, we actually find out that even at the level of physical stars and galaxies, they align themselves according to this architecture at the supercluster level. So it's really quite amazing and quite mind-blowing. But anyway, that's what I was told. So building the grid between the stars has been quite a phenomenal journey for me. And one of the attributes of the diamond that I have noticed and spoken about over the years is it supports the development and the enhancement of our innate abilities, and it also awakens sort of latent abilities, spiritual gifts within us. So it really is about that embodiment of spirit. So primarily it supports the enhancement of our inner voice, our ability to hear our inner voice, to be able to discern what is truth and what isn't. And as such, I've said over the years, and I tend to be sort of quite down to earth about a lot of these things, and I've said over the years that I've got a little niggle meter, and that little niggle meter has become quite well developed. So when I start hearing things, I trust that niggle meter within, because that's my inner voice talking to me. It's saying something's not quite right here, or yes, this is good, continue with it. So one of the things that I said I'd like to address with you guys is this subject of some of the spiritual memes that are out there, because one or two of these really give a little poke to my niggle meter, if you like. And the one that I'd just like to mention today, and I'd like to leave with you, is this whole idea of photonic light that I have seen spread around quite frequently by some very, very well-known and well-meaning spiritual teachers, but they're referring to our embodiment or receiving of photonic light, and that photonic light is somehow responsible for the crafting of another layer, another level of our light body. Well, it's a phrase that doesn't really make any sense. Now, one of the things that maybe you may know about me, you may not, but I actually came from a scientific background. So as a consequence, I have a BSc, I have a science degree. I've spent almost 20 years working in a scientific environment. And when I started hearing this phrase, the little niggle meter sort of went off, and I kind of went, no, there's something not quite right here. Because to talk about photonic light is really quite a reduction in terms. It's a phrase that doesn't really mean anything. And let me explain why. Light, in all of its forms, exists as both a wave, as a waveform, and particles. And what collapses the waveform into particles, which is what is then manifest into physical reality, into form, is consciousness. So consciousness interacts with the wave and then collapses it down into structure and form. Now, as far as light is concerned, it exists as both. So light is both a wave and a particle. And the particles of light are known as photons. So not all photons are actually created equal either. So you can get a photon of blue light. So you get a blue light wave that would collapse into particles, which would carry or hold the frequency and the energy of blue light. So it would be a blue light photon. If you have a red light wave that collapses into its photon state, its particle state, that would hold the energy and information associated with the red light wave. So not all photons are equal. You can get gamma wave photons, you can get red light photons, you can have blue light photons. All of light is both wave and photons. So to call something photonic light and imply that it is somehow better, higher, greater, more spiritual than normal light, you can see doesn't really make any sense, because it's really just saying photonic light is actually light, because it's light in particle form. And that's all it really means. There is nothing more significant to photons of light, is more the correct term, photons or particles of light than there is to the waves of light, except that the photons are part of the means by which we exchange that energy through our physical form. So that's my little offering to you today, and I would ask you to sit with that and to feel into it for the truth, but scientifically, in respect of the way that physicists and quantum physicists, which most of these teachers love to use also, is quantum physics, quantum physics. Quantum physics tells us that light is both wave and particle that can exist at the same time. Which one it chooses to do depends on what the consciousness interaction is and the expectations of the light. So photons of light are merely particles of light. So photonic light is just light. And doesn't really qualify anything else. So, enjoy that. I look forward to. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being here. Sign up to join the Diamond Light community. We've got lots more information and sharing in our community gatherings and in the work that we do, and many of the programs that have been put together over the years, which help you to understand the meaning, purpose, function, and evolutionary role that your sacred diamond actually can afford you, the gifts that it actually brings. So thank you for listening, and I look forward to the next time that we connect. Bye.